It's official that AFL clubs are going insane. We all know the salary cap is going up and will be each year as more money comes into the game. But even with that in mind, and the advantages of giving players long-term deals in the form of cap flexibility, some of the recent deals done and those rumoured are just plain crazy. It's hard to find talented players in the competition, and you do need to pay them to keep them, but the clubs right now might be going too far and actually doing harm to themselves. As always, time will tell who navigates this contract explosion period the best, and perhaps, more importantly, the worst. The headline contract deal of late was Kysaiah Pickett. After long-running rumours of homesickness and the West Australian clubs lurking, Melbourne finally locked in their man. However, it was on a monumental contract, a new 7-year extension on top of his current deal, which ran through until 2027, making Pickett a Melbourne player until 2034. He is now the longest contracted player in the competition. He will also be taking home a total pay packet of $12 million over the lifetime of the contract, with some outlets reporting it could be as much as $12.5 million. It's an insane deal for a talented player, but as good as Pickett is, he's never been All-Australian, won a best and fairest, and never kicked more than 41 goals in a season. But with Melbourne wanting to keep him so bad, his form this season, and the links to WA, it obviously worked all in his favour to land the biggest deal in AFL history, at least for now. These long-term deals can be good, they can spread all his money out and pay him more in some years than others, but health for a 9-year deal is always a risk, and who knows if a big form drop-off could occur. It also might leave Melbourne in a similar spot to Carlton. All their big stars are on big money and for long-term deals, and that could come back to bite them, especially when they do need to pay up for some of their talented young stars. It's a tough decision, and perhaps you are damned if you do, and damned if you don't. It's a risk for Melbourne, but one they will argue that they had to take. The demand for this type of talent and retaining it has also spilled out over the media. The D's are involved again, and it shows how delicate and competitive it is to keep star players. If you don't know, Luke Jackson, strangely enough, has had some rumours pointing towards a potential move back to Melbourne. Max Gawn in the following week half joked about a Jackson return, he then later apologised, and even Melbourne senior coach Simon Goodwin declared he would be interested to have Jackson return to the club. From the outside, there didn't seem much in it, but at Clubland and at Fremantle, the comments were not taken well. On SENWA, Fremantle CEO Simon Garlick fired back at Melbourne. To borrow an infamous line from Will Smith, I think Melbourne should take our players' names out of their mouths. It's interesting hearing the captain and coach speak specifically on Luke, which was really disappointing. It's not a practice that we engage in, but that's their prerogative. It's not even a consideration for us. He's a cornerstone of our club for a long time to come. Even with the end of the season, and therefore trade periods still a while away, it shows the work clubs are doing right now in trying to retain their players and also poach them. We all know earlier in the season, Sam Mitchell and West Coast captain Oscar Allen had a meeting, and it was the biggest story outlining the attempts clubs are making. It seems like no boundary is out of bounds, and it might be why the clubs are so edgy. Someone who is not on edge is Harley Reid. He will be getting a huge pay packet no matter what. Recent reports have outlined he is warming to Perth and is likely to stay at the Eagles, at least in the short term. We all know his football talent is sky high, and so is his asking price if a Victorian club came to poach him and was serious. John Ralph from the Herald Sun wrote, "Some Victorian clubs are getting cold feet on bids this year for Harley Reid, given the vast bounty they would have to give up and his likely astronomical wage. Reid to move back this year and break his contract, he would need to be paid at least $1.8 million a season on a long-term deal. That sort of money makes Kysaiah Pickett look like a bargain. $1.8 million a year would be the biggest deal in the AFL, and hundreds of thousands more than the likes of Marcus Bonampelli, Chad Warner and Nick Dacos. We all think Reid will reach the heights of those names just mentioned, and could even be better, But as Ralph says, but clubs committing as many as 3 first-round picks will need to be certain he's a generational player to hand him upwards of $10 million in a 6-year deal or longer. Even in the current market, where player talent is so valuable, it looks like no club will go that far, at least right now. But come trade time, with a sniff that he wants out, don't be shocked to see someone take the chance, not only for Reed's talents, but his enormous draw card. His good friend and fellow second-year player Nick Watson is also going to cash in, but in a bit of a different way. The small forward dynamo is out of contract next year, and the Herald Sun reported talks are ramping up. It's hard to judge how much to pay Watson. He's at an okay second year, and is a small forward, which does limit his consistent ability to impact. But as we saw in the 2024 finals, he is a game breaker and only needs 3 or 4 chances to impact, and he will. But he is going to be one of the first players to benefit from the AFL's new marketing scheme. The $34 million fund was agreed in the last CBA, and is an extra bonus to Watson type of players. That being one's good on field, but also with those large social media followings and presence in the game. Reed will no doubt fit the mark as well, and Watson will get a nice bonus from it. This should allow Hawthorn to pay him a fair deal, and the marketing fund will help clubs fit these star players in their salary cap. It's a win-win for all. So Pickett is just the most recent big contract fish that is now swimming in millions. Zach Butters, Miles Bergman, Nasai Wanganeen-Malira, Matt Rowell are just some of the other highlight names who are likely to sign deals just as significant. Port Adelaide have already offered 6+ year total deals to Butters and Bergman, so imagine what other clubs will be throwing at them. It's actually a bit surprising we haven't seen the short-term deals as much. Sydney signed Warner for 2 more years on about $1.4 million per season, and although the security isn't as great, you could technically make even more money signing those 2-year deals for say 10 total seasons. But again, the threat of players being poached and continuous trade rumours makes clubs go insane, and it's why we are seeing clubs go silly and throw blank cheques at star players, even if it's not the best thing to do for their overall list. It wasn't too long ago that Lance Franklin's 9-year deal was seen as unfathomable at the time, and with the way the market is trending, in another 10 years time, that deal will almost look like nothing, and Pickett's might even look cheap and be a win for the Melbourne Football Club.